There is a story in stillness, often overlooked, a quiet transformation that does not shout, does not demand attention, but unfolds like the petals of a flower at dawn. The act I speak of may sound simple, applying oil to your legs, but do not be deceived by the simplicity of the action. The depth lies not in the oil itself, but in how you choose to engage with it. In 7 days, something unexpected may begin to shift, not only on your skin, but far beneath it. That shift is not just physical, it is a lesson in awareness, presence, and transformation. When we think of healing, we often imagine something grand, therapies, medicines, powerful tools. Yet the body, like nature, responds best, not to force, but to rhythm, a slow, gentle return to care. Each time your hands move across your legs with the oil, they carry intention. It is not about rubbing it in quickly and moving on. It is about touching your body as if it matters, as if it deserves attention. Because it does. These legs, they have carried you through everything. Through joy and hardship, through long days and restless nights. How often do you thank them? How often do you listen? When the oil touches your skin, it brings more than moisture. It brings stillness. It brings a pause. And in that pause, something powerful happens. The mind stops chasing. The breath softens. You return to the moment, to the very place where your life is actually unfolding, not in your thoughts, but here. Over the course of 7 days, what seems like a routine will begin to feel like a ritual. You may start to notice changes. Your skin may grow softer, more radiant. The muscles beneath may feel less tense, more open. But perhaps the most surprising change is how you begin to feel inside. Lighter, quieter, more aware. It is not the oil alone that does this, it is your presence. Because presence heals. In that moment, your hands are not merely spreading oil. They are practicing gratitude. They are remembering the connection between mind and body, between outer action and inner awareness. This is the wisdom of consistency. Not grand efforts, but small ones, repeated with care. Just as drops of water can smooth a stone, small acts of attention reshape how we feel, how we think, how we carry ourselves in the world. The legs, strong yet often neglected, become symbols of this wisdom. When you care for them, you begin to care more deeply for the self that lives within them. This act of oiling becomes a meditation. You may be surprised at what begins to surface. Not just softer skin, but softer thoughts. Not just smoother legs, but a smoother energy throughout your day. The tension you release in your legs begins to release from your emotions. The attention you give to your body returns to you as clarity, calm, and even confidence. Because when we begin to care for ourselves, we remember that we are worthy of care. And from that place we walk differently. We move through life not just with better legs, but with better presence. So apply the oil, not just to treat the skin, but to treat your attention. Make it a ritual, not a routine. For in this quiet, deliberate act, you are not just changing your body, you are changing your relationship. There is a quiet transformation that happens not in the loud chaos of effort, but in the stillness of care. Many things in life can be forced, progress, ambition, even health. But healing, true healing, listens to rhythm, and rhythm begins in repetition. Take for instance the act of applying oil to your legs. At first glance it appears simple, maybe even trivial, but if you slow down and stay present, you'll begin to feel the depth of this action. With every movement of your hand, with each gentle stroke, you are reminding your body that it is safe, that it is seen, that it matters. The legs are often forgotten, yet they are the pillars of our physical journey. They carry the weight of our choices, the burden of our routines, the pace of our ambitions. They tire, but rarely complain. And so, when you begin the practice of oiling them with care, you are not only nourishing the skin, you are acknowledging the silent service they have given you. The oil becomes a messenger. It carries warmth, softness, and intention. It speaks to the tissues, to the tension buried deep within, and says it's time to release. This is not just skincare, it is self-remembrance. Within 7 days, something subtle but powerful begins to shift. The skin changes, yes, becomes smoother, more supple, but more than that, the way you feel in your body starts to transform. There is a lightness, as if the legs begin to remember what it's like to move freely. You begin to walk not only with comfort, but with a quiet confidence. That's the surface effect. But beneath it lies a deeper intelligence at work. Because you have chosen to show up daily, you have chosen to stay consistent. And discipline, when born from gentleness, carries far greater strength than anything forced. This consistency creates a container. Within that container, the mind begins to soften. The usual chatter begins to fall away, if only for a few moments. Because while your hands are moving, your thoughts are not racing. They are still. You are not thinking about what's next. You are here, now. And that presence is a kind of medicine. It nourishes not only the skin but the soul. Through this act, a kind of dialogue forms between the inner and the outer. You begin to hear your body speak, not in words but in sensations, tension, relief, ease, comfort. And in listening, you start to respond differently to everything else in life. The external act becomes a mirror of the internal world. That is where the surprise lies. Not in the oil, but in the way it teaches you to come home to yourself. The practice may take only a few minutes, but its effects ripple outward. You feel more centered throughout the day. You notice how you sit, how you walk, how you carry your emotions, and perhaps more gently, how you carry yourself. What began as a simple care routine has become a ritual of mindfulness. You begin to understand that transformation is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is soft, almost unnoticeable, but it is real. And as the days pass, you begin to see that the care you gave your legs was never really about the legs. It was about remembering how to be present with what is often ignored. It was about bringing awareness into the parts of yourself that carry you, support you, and move you forward, whether anyone sees them or not. In this, you learn a deeper truth, that healing begins the moment you choose to pay attention. And attention, when repeated with care, becomes transformation. That is the lesson in these 7 days. Not just that the body can change, but that you can change quietly, beautifully, from the inside out. There are moments in life where profound wisdom hides in the most ordinary actions. Consider something as simple as applying oil to your legs. It may seem like a task of vanity or routine, but if you begin with awareness, it quickly becomes something else. A dialogue between you and your body, an offering of presence in a world that constantly pulls your attention away. Each day that you apply this oil, you are not just moisturizing your skin, you are cultivating attention. The oil becomes a symbol, one that speaks of nourishment, consistency, and the rediscovery of slowness in a culture that glorifies speed. Your legs, often taken for granted, are the foundation of your daily life. They carry you across thresholds, through storms and celebrations, into and out of your responsibilities. They remember the weight you carry, not just physically, but emotionally. So when you begin to care for them deliberately, you are sending a powerful message inward. I have not forgotten you. This is not simply about the body, it is about connection. The act of applying oil becomes a form of meditation, a quiet rebellion against neglect, and a return to respect. You begin to move slower, not out of laziness, but out of reverence. With each stroke, you restore a sense of dignity to the body that holds your story. After a few days, you may notice the first shifts. The skin begins to glow with health. There is a softness where there was once dryness or fatigue. But the deeper transformation is not visible in the mirror, it is sensed. You may find that your thoughts are calmer during these moments, that your breath deepens without you trying. That is because the body understands when it is being cared for, and it responds by relaxing, by letting go. This letting go is not just physical. Old tension, both muscular and emotional, starts to dissolve. The legs feel lighter, but so does your mood. You are grounding yourself, not only into the earth, but into your own presence. This is the power of repeated intention. It turns action into ritual. It builds a relationship between awareness and the body. And the more you stay with it, the more you begin to feel that this simple practice is not about self-indulgence. It is about self-alignment. Every time you return to the oil, you are choosing to tune in rather than tune out. You are not multitasking. You are not rushing. You are simply here, and that here-ness is rare, but essential. It teaches you to listen without judgment, to notice what the body is saying, not just when it is in pain, but even in silence. By the 7th day, something subtle but undeniable begins to settle in. It is as if the body has softened into trust again, not just because of the oil's properties, but because of your consistency, your care. You may stand differently, walk differently, think differently. This is because healing does not happen only at the surface level. The softness of the skin becomes a mirror for the softness of your inner world. You are less reactive, less rushed, more rooted in yourself. That is the true surprise of this practice. Not that the body changes, but that your way of being does. What began as a small act of care has unfolded into a larger shift in awareness. The transformation is not loud. It does not announce itself. It simply becomes part of you, a quiet strength, a new rhythm. And perhaps the most beautiful realization is this: if something so small, done with presence, can create this shift in 7 days, what else in your life might change if only you offered it the same kind of attention? That question, if you hold it, will take you far, far beyond your legs, far beyond the oil, and deeper into yourself. There is something deeply sacred about touch, especially when it is slow, intentional, and free of urgency. To apply oil to your legs may seem like a minor act, a part of your self-care checklist, or a habit done without thought. But if you pause, if you bring your full awareness to this moment, it becomes more than a physical task. It becomes a ritual of return. Return to presence. Return to the parts of yourself you've neglected while life asked you to be fast, productive, efficient. The legs, often overlooked, hold the foundation of your movement through this world. They deserve your attention, not only when they hurt, but every day, especially when you are trying to reconnect with yourself. When you apply the oil, slow down. Let the hands move, not with routine but with reverence. The warmth of your palms, the softness of the oil, it's not just nourishing the skin, it's sending a message inward. You are safe now. I am here with you. Your legs, carrying years of motion and momentum, will begin to listen. They will soften. The skin will drink in the oil, yes, but beneath that surface, the muscles will exhale tension. This act, done daily, becomes a ceremony of release. The act is external, but the shift is internal. It is a gesture that teaches you to show up for yourself in the smallest moments. And it is those small moments, repeated with care, that begin to change the way you feel in your own skin. By the 3rd or 4th day, the rhythm of the practice will begin to take hold, not just in the body but in the mind. As your hands trace familiar paths along your legs, your thoughts begin to quiet. You are no longer planning or problem solving. You are simply present. This kind of stillness is rare, but in this rare space, awareness expands. You begin to notice subtle sensations, warmth, tingling, release. You begin to understand that the body is always speaking. It speaks through tightness, through fatigue, through relaxation, and now finally you are listening. This quiet connection between your attention and your body becomes a source of peace, not because it changes your circumstances, but because it returns you to what is real and immediate, this breath, this touch, this moment. Then something else begins to shift. You may look at your legs and see smoother skin, healthier tone, a subtle glow. But that is not the true transformation. The real shift is in your relationship with care. You start to see that care is not about indulgence, it is about presence. It is about giving time and energy to something, not because it is broken, but because it is sacred. And when you treat your own body as sacred, even for a few minutes a day, it starts to reflect that back to you. Your posture changes. Your movement becomes more graceful, more grounded. You begin to carry yourself with quiet dignity, not from ego, but from alignment. This transformation happens not in loud leaps, but in gentle layers. And each layer reminds you, healing doesn't require more effort. It requires more attention. After 7 days, what began as a skincare practice becomes a lesson in mindfulness, in slowness, in reconnection. You may be surprised by how deeply something so small has touched you. You've discovered that within the ordinary lies the extraordinary, if you meet it with awareness. And now a question begins to form in the silence. If applying oil to your legs could bring such calm, such clarity, such shift, what other parts of your life are waiting to be touched with this same presence? This is not the end of a practice. It is the beginning of a path, one where the body, mind, and spirit walk together, steady, awake, whole. Sometimes we underestimate the power of small, consistent actions. We look for breakthroughs in noise and drama, expecting transformation to come with effort and struggle. But nature doesn't rush. and yet everything it creates is complete. In this spirit, consider the simple act of applying oil to your legs each day. At first glance, it seems like a superficial gesture, a quick self-care step, perhaps something you do in passing, but when approached with awareness, it becomes much more than that. It becomes a doorway, one that leads you inward, not through thought, but through sensation, not through complexity, but through stillness. This act, done daily, reveals something important, that presence changes everything. In the beginning, your hands may feel uncertain. You may be thinking about your schedule, about what comes next, but slowly, with each repetition, something shifts. The mind starts to quiet. The movement becomes familiar. You are no longer just applying oil. You are learning how to return to your body. Your legs, the foundation of your movement, your standing, your traveling. They hold stories. They hold fatigue. And in each stroke, you are acknowledging them. You are saying, I see you, I thank you. This isn't indulgence, this is respect. And respect, when practiced regularly, becomes healing. As you continue for several days, you may begin to notice something that doesn't appear in the mirror. You start to feel a deeper connection, not just to your legs, but to your whole sense of self. This care flows inward. The tension that used to build up unnoticed begins to dissolve. Your body becomes a little softer, a little more open. And as the body opens, so too does the mind. There is less resistance, less urgency. You begin to see how you've been moving through the world, rushing, pushing, ignoring. And now you're moving differently. You are slowing down, you are listening, you are learning to live from your center rather than your edges. The transformation isn't just about smooth skin or relaxed muscles. Those are reflections. What's really changing is the relationship between you and your daily life. With each application of oil, you are not just tending to the body. You are tending to the way you exist in time. You are creating a rhythm that doesn't demand but invites. A rhythm that doesn't pull you out of the moment, but draws you deeper in. You begin to realize that everything responds to attention, the skin, the breath, even the pace of your thoughts. Attention is nourishment. Where it flows, life grows. By the end of 7 days, the changes may be subtle to others, but deeply felt by you. You might find yourself walking with more ease, standing with more confidence, moving through your day with less friction. You'll feel that your legs are not just limbs, but living parts of your awareness. And more than that, you'll carry a sense of steadiness that comes not from effort, but from alignment. Because every time you took those few minutes to care for yourself, you practiced something essential, the art of returning. Returning to your body, returning to this moment, returning to what matters most. This simple practice teaches you that transformation is not a future event. It is a present choice. And if this choice, made daily for 7 days, could change how you feel, how you move, how you see yourself, then perhaps the rest of your life is waiting for the same kind of attention. So you continue, not out of duty, but out of devotion. Not because the oil is magical, but because you've remembered something essential. That the smallest actions, when done with the deepest presence, create the most meaningful change. And so, what began as a simple gesture, applying oil to your legs, reveals itself as something far deeper. It is not merely a routine or a beauty ritual, it is a reminder. A reminder that healing doesn't always require something new, something external, or something dramatic. Often it only requires your presence, your willingness to slow down, to touch your own life, your own body with reverence. Over 7 days, your skin may have softened, your muscles relaxed, but more importantly, your awareness has deepened. You've discovered that transformation lives not in grand effort, but in quiet repetition. And in this repetition, you've rebuilt a bridge between your mind and body, one gentle stroke at a time. This practice has shown you that care is not an act of luxury, but one of wisdom. That consistency, when guided by stillness, becomes powerful. And perhaps most importantly, that the most profound changes often come from the most ordinary acts, when done with extraordinary attention. So carry this with you now, not just as a memory of these 7 days, but as a living rhythm you can return to whenever life becomes loud, whenever you forget yourself. Because every time you come back to this simple act, you are not just applying oil, you are applying presence. And from presence, everything else flows. Calm, clarity, confidence, and the quiet strength to walk through life with grace.